Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
You really adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Bazinga!
2 in the box!
Ready to go!
We be fast and
They be slow!
Cool.
All right, and we're recording. Welcome to the Mt.Geekmore podcast, your favorite podcast where you come to listen to people argue, debate, and talk over their favorite top 4, Mount Rushmore, if you will, of their favorite pop culture subjects. Today's pop culture subject, as you can tell by looking at your listening device, is the Mount Rushmore of favorite movie federal agents. All right, that's what we decided on?
Yes.
That was the final? All right, to the listener, we went back and forth on how exactly to determine, to label it. Anyways, it doesn't make a difference. This is what we got so far. So,
appreciate you.
I am Nary Science. With me, as usual, we have David.
Howdy.
And we have Daniel DeBona.
What up, y'all?
And then we got Jeff.
I'm back. I'm back.
Back again. Anyways, hold on. 2 seconds. Oh, no, I don't got another pick for another 17 hours. All right.
On the clock, Nary Signs. He'll pick
I'm on
that
the clock.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I am literally. I got the 11th pick in a snake draft. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. I made the joke earlier in the draft. I was like, I just made my second pick. I'm gonna go make a sandwich and I'll be back. And we all laughed. And literally after round 4, I just went to go make a fucking sandwich. I was like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna make a sandwich. All right. How did you guys make your selections? David, let's go with you. Top right hand corner of mine.
As you hinted at, I don't know if we have ever discussed and had a more contested definition as to what a federal agent was, or rather, what the defining feature of the topic was. So I decided I'm just going to go bare bones. I'm going to go U.S. federal agents. So it had to belong to a real United States federal agency. So CIA, FBI,
USPS.
Auspice, yeah. So had this been a TV episode, Jackie Donger would have been on my mountain for sure. So yeah, I just kind of went bare bones with this one, and that's all.
All right. Jeff, how did you pick?
With me, it was pretty much just characters that I thoroughly enjoyed. I realized I like corrupt people. I learned that from doing my mountain. You'll see why. And I don't mean corrupt. I mean that they're okay with going outside the traditional guidelines of the Federal Bureau of
They play by their own rules.
Yeah, exactly.
They play by their own
Loose
rules.
cannons. There we go. Thank you, Devona.
They're morally corrupt, not necessarily legally corrupt.
Chaotic.
They do whatever it takes to bring the
Chaotic
bad
good.
guy to justice.
In a world.
DeBona, how did you make your selection, DeBona?
I went with characters from movies that I liked, really. I had a last-minute addition that I'm really happy that I remembered because I had almost forgotten them. I went with their position in the agency had to be a big part of the movie. I had one that I slid into honorable mentions because it's just mentioned that they were a former CIA agent, so I slid them out, got in a couple others. But I just made sure that the movie really centered around the fact that they were a federal agent.
I have a feeling that pick that you mentioned is the one that I brought up to Dave, that I was like, hey, wouldn't this be that? And he's like, no, because it just is mentioned, but they're not really that, and it doesn't really. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if it's.
Yeah, this was for me. I made the selection based upon who I liked best, and I didn't have any rigid guidelines that you guys put on yourselves as far as you had to be an active in the agency. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't look at any of that shit. I was like, it mentioned that he was in it. It mentioned that he was there. And that
so
was
we
it.
got,
I was
we got 4 Team America picks. Got it.
No,
And,
he's got George Lopez and Balls of Fury. I've already called it.
I love that movie. That's such an underrated
so
movie.
good.
It is. It really is.
So good.
Such an underrated movie. I'm gonna go get the panda. The panda's dead. Yeah. With that said, I was even trying to like purposely go outside and find like federal agents that weren't for this country, that were like federal agents for their own country, and I just couldn't really find one that I liked better than the pick that I got. So with that said, that's how I made our selection. Jeff, do you have a whiteboard? Anybody have a whiteboard?
First of all, it's racist. But second of all,
You want to give me if you want to give me about 20 minutes to get to my classroom, I can help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
let me rush while you start the first thing, and I'll ask Christy because I think she might have one.
Or a clipboard would be fine. Yeah, just I want to have something to have a timer, and then somebody put up like, hey, there's a minute left, wrap it up, type of shit. So we're trying to get this efficiently going.
Why not just put a timer on the phone?
Again, my phone is preoccupied with drafting. So
there
I
are
can't do
3
shit
other
right
people here. We can take
I
on
fucking
this
asked you for a simple whiteboard. I have a whiteboard with me. I can't
You
just
asked for a
fucking do
whiteboard.
everything.
You didn't ask for a fucking phone. I got you. You need a phone. I got you. I got you. I got a watch. I got a stopwatch. I'm pretty sure I can find a grandfather clock somewhere around here.
But a whiteboard out of the fucking question.
Well,
He'll
yeah.
drag that damn thing right into the.
Christy says she has one. She's gonna look for it now.
Yeah. You missed Dave saying that. Why didn't I ask him for a clock, a stopwatch? He says that he even has a grandfather clock, and I go, but not a whiteboard. That's what you're fucking saying. Grandfather clock. All right.
All right.
So,
I don't take my work home with me.
Well, that's a big ass whiteboard. Okay. This is like just not a whiteboard. This is like an entire. Like,
I can
calendar.
bring out the rolling one that I put against a wall.
That's the Sheldon Cooper
Look at this
I
thing.
have.
I got one of those
Very
big
nice.
clear ones from Criminal Minds. Let me
Oh.
just.
Let's solve the murders.
You need a dry erase marker, right?
A dry erase marker? Yes, please. A dry erase marker.
Was that dry Russ?
Yeah, she goes, it's dry erase marker.
Dry or Us, that's where Ben Shapiro shops.
I get that reference. Dap.
It's amazing how autocorrect strikes even when you're not texting.
All right, I got it. So what's the time, Neri, we're doing? What are we doing?
5 minutes per pick, unless it's a tabled, and then we don't do that.
Then we'll.
5 minutes per person discussing, or 5 minutes total in the picks.
No, 5 minutes per each pick.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right. So, very unprofessional.
I love you too.
Is he talking to us?
No. No.
Oh, okay. All right. And with the fourth pick.
Round 4.
I'm in no mood for your wisecrack. Let's get it on. All right, David, what do you have for your number 4?
All right, so my number 4 is, and I'm just gonna come right out. I'm not gonna do a little ramp or anything or a vamp, whatever the fuck it's
You're
called.
doing that. You're doing it, though.
Okay.
It's still part of your time, buddy. It's on your time.
Dr. Stanley Goodspeed.
Table.
All right.
There we.
All right. And he was in a film called La Piedra. All right. Jeff, what do we got for number 4?
My number 4 is Joe Pistone from Donnie Brasco.
Tabled. Sorry, I had to remember what his real name was.
Oh,
Tabled.
okay.
I was like, wait a minute, is that? Yes. Tabled.
Okay.
From what movie?
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie-
That was great. Devona was like, I thought you were going to be like, wait, no, he wasn't. I was like, but he was.
Yeah. No, I was like, wait, what was his? God damn it, what was his real name?
All right. And DeBono, what do we got?
My number 4 is Johnny Utah from Point Break.
He ended up going to honorable mention.
I know it's debatable as to whether or not he's even the best FBI agent in this movie,
Fact.
but
That's not debatable.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not debatable.
It's really not. He's not at all. But he's a compelling. Yes, he's cool. He's a compelling character. He moves the movie along well. It's fun to watch him kind of sew himself in to this band of outlaw surfers and to kind of see the growth that he makes as a person. You realize that his entire identity isn't necessarily completely and totally tied up in the fact that he's a federal agent. And I mean, it's one of the first times I remember really, really liking Keanu Reeves in a movie. Like, I remember watching Bill and Ted and stuff like that, but Point Break was one of the first times I was like, man, this guy is cool. And I mean, that's really what this one boils down to for me. It's a fun movie to watch. It's great. He's just young, brash rookie who goes undercover and you know, he's just part of all these great moments, like with the gasoline flamethrower,
shooting the gun up in the air.
Yeah, shooting the gun in the air for no reason. You know.
By the way, he's still wanted for murders that he just those bullets came fucking down somewhere. Bro. Just gonna go ahead and say that.
Mythbusters, however, showed that if you shoot them straight up into the air, they don't come down at a velocity that's likely to injure somebody. But if you shoot them at a ballistic trajectory, like a 45-degree angle, like a longbow, that's where you're probably going to hurt somebody. Anyway, just a fun movie to watch. I mean, and he carries it well. It's super quotable. I mean, I use Vaya con Dios all the time. And I know that it's like, you know, a real thing that people say, but when I say it, I'm specifically referencing Point Break.
Yeah, but when someone says Vaya con Dios and not Vaya con Dios,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, when you say Dios, that's
yeah,
it, you know.
Dios. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I don't like about Johnny Utah is he quarterbacked for Ohio State. Aside from that,
right?
I'll let it.
And so I like it's just the reason that he ended up ultimately making my list. There was a moment there where I almost bumped him to honorable mention. I stuck with him because when we said federal agent, the voice I heard in my head was Johnny Utah going, "I'm a federal agent," and I was like, "Well, he's got to make the list."
the moment DeBono was like, "I already figured it out who it is," I sent him a gif of Johnny Utah saying "Vaya con Dios." He goes, "Yep, exactly." I go, "Yeah."
And like, so it's the Dave theory. I got to stay true to myself, right? And so this is who I thought of right away. He stays at number 4, Johnny Utah from Point Break.
I feel like Johnny Utah crawled so that Paul Walker's what the fuck's his name?
Brian
Spillner. How dare you fucking say that to DeBona? Like, you know his name. You need to know Brian's name.
His name's actually Brian O'Connell. Brian Spillner is his name that he uses when he's undercover.
Right. Are you not tabling this, DeBona? Because I'm shocked that you didn't say table right now.
Oh no, he was just saying.
No, yeah. No, yeah, I can't knock that pick.
Yeah,
it's an honorable mention.
All right, right on. My number 4 is Jason Bourne from 17 different Bourne movies.
That was one of the ones that I was asking Dave, because he really is only a CIA agent for the first half of the first movie.
And I think that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, but I ended up moving him to honorable mention just because I wasn't sure how it would exactly kind of fall.
I would have chosen him even if they were like, hey, minute 5 of the first movie. Hey, weren't you a CIA agent once? Once. That's all I need. That's it. That's all fine. That's it. That's all I fucking
Neri
need.
would have accepted him as a little child with a fake badge that he made that said CIA agent.
Yeah, I would have accepted him if he would have gotten information from somebody by putting a fake badge down. I would have been like, no, that counts. That fucking totally counts. So Jason Bourne, I love the Bourne movies. I love the Bourne series. All of them, even the one with Jeremy Renner. I know. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
That's a great fucking movie.
I liked it a
Yeah.
lot.
It's not a Bourne movie, but it's a great fucking movie.
Yeah, a lot of people got really upset about that movie, and nobody the fucking pills. I'm like, shut up, enjoy the ride. All right, so Jason Bourne is so fucking cool that his anti-James Bond type of film made Bond change what kind of fucking film they were doing. Where James Bond used to be when Jason Bourne movies came out, like the Bond that was there was Pierce Brosnan, which is my favorite Bond. And it was like all gadgets and fucking high-tech shit, and it was super cool. And then Jason Bourne was like, we're going to go low tech. We're going to go a lot of fast hand-to-hand combat, a lot of fucking fast-moving sequences. And we're going to just make it fucking real gritty. And then they became so successful that then they were like, Bond was like, you know what we should do? We should do low tech, a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and then real fucking gritty. What do you think? And so
blonde.
And blonde. So I love the Bourne series. I love Jason Bourne. You feel for him, right? You go along with this ride of like you don't know what the fuck is happening. You don't know what he knows, what he doesn't know. And you end up feeling for the guy. And he fell in love with the chick from Run Little Run. So, I mean, how do you know?
Nice reference.
Yeah. So
I'm
so glad that it's her, because if it wasn't her, I'm like, no, that's not her, dude.
It was either the second or third Bourne film. I forget exactly which one, but it's got one of, if not my favorite, close quarters fight scenes where he's like in a tiny apartment fighting like this big guy, and they're like punching through like bookcases and stuff and like opening cabinet doors. I love it, and it's so well choreographed. And you're right, it's all tight angles and just making it look so cool.
The thing with Jason Bourne that I love is that you're basically, it's almost like if you're playing a video game, you're unlocking new abilities as you go that you didn't know you could do before. You know what I mean? Like,
I thought of it that way.
I like it.
That's a great way to put it, because he doesn't even know that he doesn't even know that he has those abilities. It's like one of those things where he's like, yeah, it's fucking.
So
great.
it's like wait, I know kung fu. Like it's that kind of it's that kind of fucking moment, but with Jason Bourne, So I love that you get to go on that kind of journey with him, and you're like, oh shit, and he's learning this as you learn it. I can't knock it. I told you I moved it to honorable mention just because it was like he was a CIA for like 30 seconds at the beginning of the movie, and then it was him just like on the lam. But
you're right.
I love the pick.
This wasn't just.
Yeah, so that's my pick, Jason Bourne. So our number 4s are Stanley Goodspeed from The Rock, Joe Castano.
Pistone.
Pistone.
Castone. From Donnie Brasco, Johnny Utah from Point Break, and Jason Bourne from the Bourne series. All right.
Round 3.
3 is a magic number. Yes, it is.
All right. So, Dave, what you got for your number 3?
My number 3 is Jimmy Malone from Untouchables.
Table.
All right.
Well, I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. That is also my number 3.
Okay. So nice. How do you do?
Yeah, I literally rewatched this after I finished work before. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna rewatch this again. I haven't seen it in like a couple months.
My pick was the tax attorney guy. All right.
Gonna be the shortest
nobody
episode
ever.
Yeah,
nobody ever. All right. Great pick. Jeff, what do you got for your number 3?
Well, unless somebody tables it, we can now talk about Stanley Goodspeed from The Rock.
All right.
Nicolas Cage, what he brings to Stanley Goodspeed, like he's not the typical. He's the chemical super freak, as he puts it. He's not the typical FBI agent. He doesn't really have combat training. He doesn't have, he went through like the basic courses, and then they throw him into this fucking tactical just disaster, and they put him with Sean Connery as like one of the baddest characters ever
in all of movie history.
Yeah, like I think that might be his baddest character, and I know he was an immortal in Highlander, but like and you just have this guy that nobody's counting on. They think they just think that he's gonna die right away. That he's gonna, you know, they're like he's gonna be more of an issue than a benefit. And then, you know, he gets that motivation, which it's kind of funny mentioning, and we'll talk about that later. But with Malone, like Sean Connery tends to have that character that always hypes up the main guy, you know, and he helps Stanley Goodspeed just find himself and be like you can be a badass. You are fucking Vanessa Marcel. You like,
and that whole you know, winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Oh my God!
I fucking love that speech. He goes, "Carla was the prom queen." He's like, "Yeah, that's right, man."
He gets so hyped in himself.
It's just like you can see as the movie goes, he starts to gain his confidence.
But he's always true to himself. Like there's a little bit of cockiness to him because he knows he's the smartest guy in the room. Right. Like one of my favorite scenes with him is the, you know, glass or plastic, you know, and he's just like, listen, man, I'm gonna tell you how it is, and you're gonna fucking listen to me because I'm smarter than you are.
Well, and that whole scene at the beginning of the movie when the baby in the crate, when he's stuck inside there, you get a piece of the fact that like he's cool and he can be cool under pressure because the other lab guy's freaking out. Mm-hmm. And like wants to stab him with a syringe.
You want to stab this in my fucking heart?
You want me to put this in my fucking heart? Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, you know, but he was cool. He said, "Get that away from me. I have a job to do." You know, so you always saw those bits of him, and then by the end, like, bro, and the lines that he has, you know, do you listen to Elton John? No, I don't listen to soft shit. Oh, you. You're the Rocket Man, like those lines, you know. And then he has that one-on-one fight with the fucking special forces guy.
Yeah.
At the end, and he wins. He beats him.
He holds his own. Yeah, he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah. You know, but I just think he's such a great character because he is that geeky guy, but he does show you those sides of him that he can hold it all, you know, his own with the boys and do what he has to do to get the job done. And
I think my favorite thing about him is that you can like see visibly on his face that he carries like the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Right.
And like he to him, this isn't just a job. This isn't just a paycheck. Like he genuinely believes that he can make the world a safer place by doing what he does. And you see it in like that really tender moment that he shares with his wife before he leaves, and he's like, I gotta do this, like I'm the only one. And like, of course, the next scene, everyone's like, you know, picking on him and making fun of him, and you know, but he is the only one, and he knows that, and he always will nut up in a way that almost no one else can.
And you see this side of him. That like when Sean Connery's character tries to, when he escapes and they have that whole car chase through all of downtown, and he goes to see his daughter, and he doesn't come up and be like, "Hey, you know, what the fuck were you doing? You ran away." He played along with it. He's like, "Hey, we really need you to come back, John. Like, you know, we got some work to do." Like he doesn't. He puts on the face that even Sean Connery. That's when you can tell he kind of is like, this guy's not like these guys. Mm-hmm. He's not like Lomax and these other guys that are just using me. He genuinely cares, you know, and he just met me.
I'm not going to lie to y'all. I completely forgot that he was actually a federal agent. Like, in my head, he was just like a scientist that they'd gone and recruited. And I completely forgot he was a federal agent. Or there's a possibility he might have been. That's a good pick, man. So good.
So, yeah, that's my...
All right. Stanley Goodspeed. DeBono, what do you got for number 3?
My number 3 is also Jimmy Malone, so we're gonna have to keep that table.
All right, Jimmy Malone, right on. My number 3 is a dude named Charlie Wax, and if you don't know who Charlie Wax is, he is personally what I think to be John Travolta's greatest role, which is in With Love, From Paris with Love. And
the bald guy.
The bald guy, yeah. Or as we call him, John Travolta. You've never seen this movie?
No, I've never seen it.
Dude, it is fucking fantastic. John Travolta has been on record as saying that he's never done a sequel but he would be more than happy to do an entire franchise of this fucking character.
That was one of those movies that like it didn't get a big box office hit, but it's actually a really fun movie.
It's such a fucking fun movie. I watch it once a year, and it's such a fucking fun movie. It is different than John Travolta as usually. Like he plays the fucking crazy, wacky, you know, kind of like badass agent where he's super. He knows exactly what he's doing, but you think to yourself as you're watching it, like, is this guy fucking all? Like, is he all there? Is he all right? It's really fucking good. I love this movie. I love the film, and I love this role that John Travolta plays. At one point, he was the guy that he was playing that was the other star, the other lead of the movie. Asked him, like, yeah, he said something along the lines of like, how do I know that you know what you're doing? And he's like, didn't you just see me kill all these fucking, how many Chinese motherfuckers do you need me to kill? You see, like, I was like, oh shit. It was like, that was he's like, do you think all that shit is luck? Like, that shit was crazy. So I'm a big fan, dude. Legit. I'm a big fan of that movie. And I in my heart, I know that there are more popular picks and there are more popular characters. But I legitimately, when he was probably the second or third person I thought of, even before much more recognizable names. I was like, no, okay, here we go. So that's who I went with. I went with Charlie Wax from Paris with Love. I had to Google it and make sure that he actually was in the CIA, because the lead, there's two leads, and the other guy that we meet first for like 10 or 15 minutes before we meet John Travolta's character, he's established to be in the CIA, but he's like low level fucking grunt work CIA. And so I had to just double check, because I've seen the movie a bunch of times, but I'm like, let me just double check. But he's an operative for the CIA. So there you go, Charlie Wax.
It's a great.
What?
I think the phone froze.
Oh.
Pigman, did not even think of that movie because I've only.
You've only seen it once?
I've only seen it once, yeah. So it's a great pick, but did not even think of it.
I'm gonna rewatch that
in
tomorrow.
the family share.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that tomorrow.
All right, so what else? All right, so the number threes, we have Jimmy Malone, Stanley Goodspeed, Jimmy Malone, and Charlie Wax. So moving along pretty quickly here, bro. This is pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna need the timer.
The only one that we kind of got close to was on Stanley Goodspeed. That we had like a minute and a half left. 5 minutes is longer than you think it is.
That's what I keep telling my wife, and she doesn't believe me, man. She just does not fucking believe me.
Ironically enough, with that Joe Christie had mentioned a name, she's like, a minute's longer than you think. I go, thank you.
Yeah.
I tell mine all the time. Tell anybody who's been in the ring with Tyson, 3 minutes gets it done.
So fucking true. So true. Like, let's see you go fucking 3 minutes, motherfucker. All right, here. Let's see. So that is our number three.
Round two.
Dose, the sequel to Uno.
What is your number two, David?
All right, so my number two is arguably the most fun pick on my list, and that's Harry Tasker from True Lies.
Such
fuck,
a good
I didn't
pick.
even think about him.
Dude, I shortlisted him. It's such a great pick.
Fuck, that's so good.
He's very unlike the other picks on my mountain because it's Schwarzenegger, so you know what you're getting with Schwarzenegger. But he's.
Do you though? Do you picture Schwarzenegger doing a tango, my friend?
That's very true. He's so. He's much more like a James Bond in this than he is like a Stanley Goodspeed or a Jimmy Malone or my number one. But there's so much fun to be had in this. Like you can tell that he really enjoys his job. And then he comes home and he's this like just super normal guy. He is
pretty shitty father too.
He's not that great a dad, no, and he's not that great a husband, but he learns how to be throughout the course of the movie, right?
Yeah, it's called bringing them into your fucking work. Like that. Like I can't.
Bring your father to work. Bring your kid to work day.
Yeah.
I can't multitask, so I'll just make my entire family spies. That way, I could keep an eye on them the whole time.
I am waiting for that sequel where we get Eliza Dushku as a like the new CIA operative,
that'd be awesome.
and Schwarzenegger takes over the like Charlton Heston role. I think that would be so great.
That'd be awesome.
You are worried you could have made an entire Schwarzenegger mountain, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Listen, for almost anything, I can make an entire Schwarzenegger mountain. I have to force myself not to when it comes to these things.
To the listener, we almost went international with it. We almost went like you could do any agency from any multi international. We almost went that route, and I told
Red Heat. Let's go Raw Deal. Let's go Eraser. Eraser's pushing it, but yeah.
Eraser was fantastic. That was a great movie.
Yeah. It's a little over the top, even by Schwarzenegger standards.
Yeah, I was like. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you about the movie you're talking about where somebody has is tied to a rocket and gets launched through a building.
But that's the sort of ridiculous that you get with Harry Tasker.
You're fired.
Like Tasker is like a bull in a china shop. Like, he is the worst possible person that you could task with being a secret agent, right? Like
also,
the
he's
very
7
secret
feet tall,
part. Yeah.
250 fucking pounds.
Like, this is not the type of guy that you think of as, oh yeah, he can blend. No, he can't. Motherfucker's huge, right? And he always takes the path of most resistance when it comes to finishing the job, because it's like, well, it's a straight line. That's where I need to go, right over there. But there's like a gazillion guys in front of me. So bazooka, right? Yeah. That's his thing. And also lungs of steel.
Oh, swimming under the water?
How long does it? Every time I try to hold my breath, I can't make it. I can't do it. It's
now you've got me questioning though, because like if we were to pick like our favorite character, like I'd pick Tom Arnold over Harry Tasker,
dude.
As the best,
that's a great pick too. That's a great pick too.
When Schwarzenegger jumps in the Harrier jet at the end, and Tom Arnold's like, "Don't worry, it's like riding a bike," and he's like crashing the Harrier all over the place trying to take off, all because he just needed to get to the top of a building. Harrier jet. That's how we get up there.
No, but Harry Tasker's amazing. But I'd argue that I think he does have a little bit of Stanley Goodspeed in him, because he is slick, but he also doesn't really know how to talk to people and how to like interact with people. He's a little goofy in that end. I noticed it, like especially with his wife. Well, I mean, I guess it's a persona what he's doing with his wife.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that like he. But then there's this idea. Well, which is the legend and which is the real him, right? Like, is he naturally like this sort of goofy, reserved guy, or is he that suave, debonair dude that can like woo Tia Carrere, you know?
Every time I drive by that bridge when I go down to the Keys, I say R.I.P. to her character.
I showed this to my brother for the very first time. I feel like my father failed him. On my birthday, I showed it to my brother for the very first time, just a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Did they really blow up the?" I'm like, "Dude, when they made movies, they used to actually make movies. They didn't fucking make cartoons on a computer. All right? Yeah, they fucking blew up a bridge, motherfucker."
This is the second time David says "motherfucker" with an A at the end. This is like this is rare form.
That's because he's drinking. He's drinking.
Yeah. I'm just happy I said howdy at the beginning of the episode. I don't want that countdown again.
All right.
I'm fancy. I even take a sip with my finger up.
All right, Jeff. What do we got? What do we got for our number 2?
All right. So my number 2, we can actually speak about him. Sorry, that was the timer going off. We can actually speak about motherfucker Jim Malone from The Untouchables.
Yes, oh, so good.
So technically doesn't start off as a federal agent, but gets indoctrinated when he puts Elliot Ness right in his place on the bridge and is like, "Let me teach you how to be a cop." This is you think you know, but let me just in the short time here where I'm just walking on this bridge from the movie The Shadow, and like that's what it fucking looked like. I was waiting for the fucking Shadow to come out and fight Asian people, but you know, Malone, he's the driving force to what Elliot Ness needed to become to be able to go against Al Capone. Because Elliot Ness, when he starts in that movie, is nobody can drink, nobody can do this. I need you all pure. He says it. He literally says, "I need you all pure." And then 2 scenes later, after he has that failed, raid, he meets Malone, and Malone just tells him, he's like, "This is not how Chicago is. You don't understand how the Chicago, he gives him that amazing line, the Chicago way line, and he tells him, if they kill your guy, you kill 2 of his guys. You can't be going the way you're going. And he's the one that tells him who to pick when they get Andy Garcia. He's like, don't go with the corrupt cops. Find somebody who pick him off the tree. Like that's what he tells him. Like he's the guiding force to Elliot Ness that leads him to a success. And apparently he's bulletproof because he can get shot with a full Tommy gun and still stay alive long enough for Elliot Ness to show up an hour later.
That scene makes me cry every fucking
so
time.
good.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
So when I originally put Untouchables on my list, I was gonna put Elliot Ness until I got to the point where I realized that it's Malone that makes Elliot Ness the character he was, and I switched to Malone for all of the reasons that you just said. Because without him, Elliot Ness would not have been awesome. Like everything that Elliot Ness became, it was because of the fact that Malone was already a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we see it early on in the movie with that failed raid, like you were talking about, and when he goes to Malone, like the moment Malone agrees, he's like, "You want to do this? Let's do this."
Right.
And they just walk over, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "Everyone knows where you got to get this done." But if we kick down this door,
right,
there's no turning back.
Yeah, once you kick down this door, this is how it starts. They go to the post office.
Yeah.
With shotguns. God,
that scene is so God, such a great movie.
And it's just he even the scene when they're on the Canadian border that they're trying to get the information about the bookkeeper, and he grabs the dead body. The other guy doesn't know it's a dead body and pretends like he's interrogating him.
He blows the fucking brains out. Oh my God, it's so good.
Like he knows what has to be done to get to where they need to go.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't get Elliot Ness, especially at the end when he kills the lady in white. I call him because he was just wearing a white suit the entire time. The guy that kills everybody.
That's the best. That's one of my favorite. I mean, in a movie that has nothing but amazing scenes, that scene when he said your friend died like a stock Irish pig, and he said, he died screaming like a stock Irish pig, and he fucking threw him off the building.
Yes,
and he was yelling, and he was like, "Did it sound something like that?" I was like, "Oh my God!" I'm gonna need a minute, guys. I'm gonna need a minute. Let me get a towel, please.
Yeah,
it's so fucking good. And again, in a movie filled with amazing scenes, I mean, it's so hard to pick your favorite, and that one just stands out to me.
And Malone always did whatever he needed to because he got into the fight with the cop that they had a fist fight in the alley when he's trying to get the information. He's like, "I'm gonna go to whatever lengths I have to so that we can succeed in this," And he was gonna go to a raid, and when they thought that Ness was gonna get attacked at his home, he came rushing over there to help him out. Like. He was always right there for him, and it was such a huge loss when he died. And like you said, that scene, and in that scene, the one thing he cherished was the key and the medal.
Yeah.
And he's reaching for it, and Elliot Ness is like, "What?" And he goes, "No." And he grabs the paper because he's like, "I need to tell you what you need to know. I know that's my cherished item."
That's why it gets me, because it's like, no, fuck this. Like, I have a job to do.
Right.
I have a commitment to you that I need to get through here.
Right. So
this is one where I had to kind of like come to terms with the fact that the best movie on my list is not my number one, because The Untouchables is I think, in my opinion, far and away the best movie on my mountain. But it's
Oh,
such an
so you don't have raw deal in your mountain?
it's such an ensemble piece that it's hard for any one person to shine as much as like a lead actor would in a role where they are designed to to carry the film. So that's
And
in a movie that has De Niro in a prominent role, he's still not the most impressive.
Yeah.
That's how fucking good this movie is, you know.
And did Connery just get nominated, or did he win an Oscar?
He won.
He won, right? Yeah. I mean, great pick, man. That's why it was my number 3. Love it.
Likewise.
All right. What do we got, DeBono? What do you got for your number 2?
My number 2 is a movie that I almost forgot, and then when it came to me, I realized that it was going to climb well up my mountain. My number 2 is Evelyn Salt from the movie Salt.
Oh my God, I fucking love that movie, dude.
I thought that was going to be on your list, Neri.
No, I honestly did not remember because she's a broad. So I did not even think about it. And I'm fucking kidding. To the listener, I'm fucking joking.
Neri's
No,
the one
I
who
love that
introduced
fucking
this
movie.
to me.
Yes.
Neri was like, you haven't seen this, you gotta watch this.
I almost completely forgot about this movie, and then it came to me, and it was like this blinding flash of, oh my God, not only is Evelyn Salt going to make my list, but she just kept climbing. Evelyn Salt.
If this would have been your number 4, I would have bumped my number 4. I probably would have bumped my number 3. But I just can't bump my 2 and 1. But fuck,
right.
Such a great pick, dude.
Such just and the badass. I mean, Evelyn Salt is incredible. This was the movie that was really a turning point for me with Angelina Jolie. I know, like she'd done a lot of stuff, and I was always kind of hit and miss. Like I didn't dislike her, but I was kind of bleh about her. But man, when I saw this movie, she's like, the movie starts with her being tortured in prison in North Korea, and then it only gets more insane from there. She plays this role amazingly, where you constantly don't know, is she a double agent? Is she a triple agent? Is she working for the CIA? Is she working, for Russia or anybody else? Is she a sleeper cell and doesn't even know that she's a Russian agent? Just the action scenes in it are incredible. She puts on an amazing performance, and it just, like I said, when I remembered, it all came flooding back to me. Again, a movie that's got a great cast, and she's still head and shoulders above anybody else. Great, it's not a full ensemble cast, but Liev Schreiber's in it as well.
Do you know that they offered that role to Brad Pitt when they were married? And
really?
Brad Pitt said, yeah, they offered that role. Obviously, it was for a dude, and he said, "Not me, but I think Angie would be fantastic." Like he's the one that suggested to the
See, I can't even imagine that role not being
it's so good.
Like a female and being Evelyn Salt. It was just. But like I said, this has got intense action scenes. This has got a lot of twists and turns, and Evelyn Salt, like I said, played by Angelina Jolie, is just incredible in everything that she does. Every time you think you know where she's going and you think you know what she's doing, there's another twist coming, and she's playing somebody else. She works all the angles. She plays the spy type character of being a CIA agent. She's not one who's going to necessarily automatically default to the rocket launcher. She plays that spy character. She's all about the espionage of it and working people against each other. And she sees all the angles so perfectly that until this movie ends, you're never 100% sure whose side she's on and who she's actually working for.
But she can also go in guns blazing and just
a
bunch of people.
Yes.
Like the end of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just like, holy fuck, that
like on the ship, right? When everything when the ship finally hits the fan on the ship, and she just cranks it up, man. And I was like, okay, so she is a bona fide action star. This is an incredible movie. I love Salt. I haven't rewatched it in a while. I will admit that, but it's just a great movie and such an amazing role.
When this movie first came out, I got a lot of shit from people because I was raving about the movie and they're like, "What the fuck?" And I got a lot of flack from people for how much I was talking this movie up. And for a moment, I questioned myself. I'm like, "Am I fucking crazy? Like, isn't that good?" Like I was. Like and I just started asking people to watch it, like other friends. I'm like, am I fucking nuts? Am I out of like? I don't understand how this movie is not amazing, and it's fantastic. Everyone thought it's a great pick, dude. Great fucking pick. All right. All right. So we got Evelyn Schultz. My number 2 is none other than Captain John Patrick Mason for Your Majesty's SAS. Retired, of course. He is. I love the Goodspeed pick. Legit, like it's a great pick. And if you were only picking agents from this federal government, this meaning the country that the hosts are in, that makes sense to me. But because I didn't limit myself to only this country's federal agents, I like Mason is by and large the best fucking agent in the movie. Maybe Hummel may come up there. He was big in Vietnam. I remember seeing his face on the news. So John Patrick Mason, Sean Connery, just so fucking smart. Everything, the way he gets out of prison, he was the one that escaped Alcatraz. The way they did that, with the whole fucking bed, with the roller peg leg of the bed, and everything's fantastic. The way he was able to get that quarter and fucking smash it and cut through the glass.
That scene forever, man. He just smashes through.
Yeah, like, Womack, I should have known.
Yeah, I love his lines. Well, I'm Stanley Goodspeed. Of course you are. Like, I just love those little back and forth that they have. I think you're like you said. It's with both of them. I can't not. There's no way I'm ever gonna knock that pick. That's like my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. So, as my mountain suggested previously, like,
I think all of ours, right? Wasn't that a unanimous
it might have been a unanimous number 1.
Yeah,
like,
as it should have been.
Yeah, but he's just brilliant, and like even at his age, him holding up and still being able to mess up all those young guys just because of his training. And again, Sean Connery in that motivational role, like I mentioned.
Well, and it's like it's so great that the way that role plays out is that his mind is still so sharp. He's been in the deepest hole, forever, and technically he doesn't exist or whatever. But it takes him one sequence of those flames, and he remembers exactly how to roll through.
Right.
He remembers perfectly everything. All of his plans come together immediately. The quarter, I mean, he couldn't have planned that. That was just because Nicolas Cage threw it at him. The whole thing where
Well, it was the other guy. It was the other guy threw it out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it was just the whole concept of the fact that he was still the smartest man in the room after years of just wasting away in a hole made that so good and made it believable that he was that old and still that badass.
Yeah, it's so fucking good. I love that. I mean, that whole movie is fantastic. I love when he was like, "Oh, is that normal?" And you look at the body. It's like, yeah, sometimes they do that. Like, can you do something about
distracting?
Yeah, can you do something about that? You want to kill him again? Like, what do you fucking want me to do? Like, but yeah, so my pick is Captain John Patrick Mason. I everything about that fucking movie, everything about that character, just it made me miss Sean Connery. Every time I watch that movie, it makes me miss Sean Connery that much more. And it was his birthday recently. At the time of this recording, it was his birthday like a week ago. It was fantastic. All right, so our number 2s are Harry Tasker from True Lies, Jimmy Malone from The Untouchables, Evelyn Salt from the movie Salt, and Captain John Patrick Mason from The Rock. So what do we have for honorable mentions?
So,
Dave?
yeah, I went ahead and added John Kruger from Eraser.
All of a sudden, a fucking gun that shoots fucking through buildings is not that crazy when you put it up against.
It's not that crazy when it's held by Arnold.
Yeah, true.
Wyatt Earp from Tombstone is a U.S. Marshal, so I got to put him in there. Melvin Purvis from Public Enemies, played by Christian Bale, is just a great, dedicated
What a great movie.
FBI agent.
So good.
Really underappreciated movie.
Yeah. It's a slow burn, but fuck.
I
that's a
just
good burn,
I just
though.
recently rewatched it because I remembered not liking it as much for some reason. Recently rewatched it. Yeah, holds up, and now I'm on board with it being
I
a great
was nuts about that movie when it first came out. Haven't seen it in a while, so I got to watch it again. Clarice Starling from, take your pick, but either one.
Right.
And Kate Mercer.
But who did you
Sicario.
like playing her more?
I do prefer Jodie Foster, but
Right.
she's given more to do in Hannibal.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Hannibal movie in general. So Julianne Moore, to me, I know it's wrong, but whenever I think of that character, I think of Julianne Moore. Yeah, I know that's wrong.
It's your favorite in the series, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but that's also wrong. It's also wrong. It's like it's also,
Yeah, but whatever.
It's like, who do you think of when you think of James Bond? And I forget. I wish I knew the guy's name. That guy that played him once. You go, yeah. And,
George Lazenby.
George Lazenby.
Yeah, George Lazenby. Who's your Bond? George Lazenby. That's the wrong answer.
That
I
is
would have
a
accepted
choice.
anything but that.
Yeah.
I actually fucking love Honor Majesty.
Of course you do, but that's still not your Bond. That's
No, he's not.
still not your Bond.
No, he's not my Bond.
That's good. But that's a good honorable mention list, man. You have a fantastic one. Jeff, who do you got for honorable mentions?
All right. So for me, I've got in a world where Sean Archer exists. That's going to be my favorite John Travolta federal agent is Sean Archer from Face Off.
So good.
I also had Clarice Starling. I'd mentioned Johnny Utah. I've got Agents Johnson and Johnson from Die Hard.
Dude, I just finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine yesterday, so Die Hard was well on my brain.
This is I don't know if any of you guys have seen this movie, but I love this character is Dylan Rhodes from Now You See Me from the Magician movie. He's Mark Ruffalo plays the FBI agent that's chasing after them. When you have an FBI agent that does magic, I mean, I'm in. And then Brian Mills from Taken. That's the one where he was a CIA operative. He does have those skills still, but he's not really working for the CIA during Taken. He's already retired. So that's why I didn't put him on the list. I put him as an honorable mention, but you've got him. Oh, and then last one, because I have a lot, sorry. Sands from Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Johnny Depp's character from Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Oh, the bleeding eyes, man.
Yes, the bleeding eyes with the Uzis.
Debono, what do you got for your honorable mentions?
I want to start off by saying I freaked out for a second because you said you missed Sean Connery, so I went and looked. He is still alive. You made me nervous.
Yeah, what I meant was that he hasn't done a movie in forever, and the last one he did wasn't great, so I really miss Sean Connery.
But
I figured that was what you meant.
He turned 90 in August, so
90.
Anyway,
yeah.
90. Okay, so just a couple of honorable mentions that haven't been said yet. I couldn't bring myself to put him on my mountain because he's famous for TV, but there was a movie, so I can mention him, and that's Agent Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me.
I really wanted to put him on this mountain, and I was like, man, I can't do it based on just Firewalk.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I had to put him into honorable mentions. My one that it's only slightly mentioned that he was ever in the CIA, but it's just a hilarious role, and I love it, is Cobra Bubbles from Lilo and Stitch. At the very end of the movie, it's mentioned that Cobra Bubbles was a former CIA agent and worked with aliens. And my one that almost made my list, but the movie's newer and I've only seen it once, and I want to go back and watch it again and make sure that this character was as good as I remembered. That's Daniel Jones, played by Adam Driver in The Report, also known as The Torture Report. It's a movie that came out last year about congressional hearings about torturing people after the 9/11 attacks. Yeah. And Adam Driver smoked this role. It was incredible. It is the best I've ever seen him do, and really cemented for me that this guy is an amazing actor. And it's just a great role. If you've not seen The Report, highly, highly recommend. But I just couldn't bring myself to put him on my mountain.
Sure. I have Vince Larkin from Con Air. That's John Cusack's character from Con Air.
I think
Emily
you mean
Blunt's
Mr. Thesaurus.
Oh, true.
I just want to let you know there's now 3 men I trust.
So
The whole
good.
man, every time I see that fucking movie and that scene comes up, I'm like, who are the other fucking 2, man?
He goes, there's 2 men I trust. One's me, the other's not you. That's what he tells
And
them.
I'm just like, who's the other one?
Also, I love the
all right.
fact that we managed to mention Face Off, The Rock, and Con Air.
Of course.
Love it.
We could have done it on the cage list. We could have done it on the cage list up in this piece. Because he was a Navy SEAL, correct? Nick Cage in Con Air was a Navy SEAL, so technically at some point he was a federal agent, right?
Was he a Navy SEAL or was he was an Army? He was in the Army.
He was an Army Ranger.
He was an Army Ranger.
Ranger, that's
yeah,
what
he was
it
a
is.
Ranger.
Ranger.
I excluded military.
Me too.
Even though they technically are, under the auspices of the federal government.
Because Rambo would be your number 1.
Maybe I'm not. I will neither confirm nor deny.
Great pick.
Yeah. So there's that Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp, listen to me. Sorry. And Tombstone. Nobody picks Wyatt Earp. And Tombstone. Because they both those movies came out the same year, and it was like, oh, Wyatt Earp is such a good movie, and then Tombstone came out, and you're like, oh, no, never mind.
No, it's not.
No,
Wait,
no. I specifically said Wyatt Earp from Tombstone.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's why we're saying there's a movie called Wyatt Earp, and that's why we're like, and that's why when that movie came out, like everybody's like, oh, Wyatt Earp, because Wyatt Earp came out first, and then Tombstone, and everybody was like, oh, Wyatt Earp is such a great fucking Western. And then Tombstone came out and like, oh, no, never mind. That one.
That's what should happen.
And to be honest with you, man, I don't know. I'm going to put this as an honorable mention, but I don't know if technically he was ever technically somebody for the, I don't remember the scene where they talked about his resume. But John Creasy from Men on Fire, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, I just for the life of me can't recall. And shit was so hectic today with school and distance learning and all that shit and taking care, watching the kids, that I didn't have time to put. Oh, and I had a fantasy football draft. That I didn't have time to put that scene because there's a scene where he's talking to what's his name, El Cantante. And then they're going through his resume, and I just for the life of me couldn't remember if that was it. So I left him my honorable mention. If not, he would be up there.
U.S. Marine Force Reconnaissance Officer.
Yeah. So I don't even know what that means.
But neither do I.
Like the Marines, it's like the Marine version of the SEALs, like Delta Force and Recon.
All right, there you go. There you go. And Sandra Bullock and Miss Congeniality. Those are my honorable mentions.
Oh fuck! I didn't even think of that.
Nice.
Because you hate women,
Yeah.
You're
right.
So those are the honorable mentions. But like in a loving way, though, right? Like in a loving way, right? Hey, you know what tits love? They love them when you call them broads. All right, so those are our honorable mentions. Here we go.
Round 1. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Do it. Come on.
All right, number 1, Dave. Hit me with your number 1, man.
My number 1, I went back and forth on whether he should be number 1 because there's a TV show that portrays him so well. But ultimately, this was the first guy that popped into my mind, and he's got a slew of movies that I fucking love and have loved well before the television series. It's Dr. Jack Ryan.
Oh, yeah, I figured.
Yep. I saw that one coming.
So yeah, I mean, my favorite
Jack Ryan. Oh, I didn't think. No.
my
Didn't think you would like him.
The Cincinnati Ryans?
my favorite iteration of Ryan is Baldwin in The Hunt for Red October. I think he just nails that, like, analyst, I'm a numbers guy thing.
And when he calls his daughter and calls her a little fat pig in the middle of it.
Well, it was just very much like it was very Clancy. It's like Clancy wrote those words for him. Listen, man, it really doesn't matter which movie it's in. He's been portrayed by a number of different actors, and they're all fantastic. Baldwin happens to be my favorite, but you look at Clear and Present Danger.
Clear and Present Danger, man. That's the one. That's my
So
go-to.
good. Fuck. And then is it Willem Dafoe who's the CIA operative in that one? I can't remember now.
I haven't seen both of those. The Harrison Ford movies. I haven't seen either one of them in such a long time.
Man, me neither.
That I gotta go back and rewatch it because I know they're great movies, but I know they're great movies because people say that they're great movies, not because I remember the movies.
Yeah. I love them. Those first three to me like create such a great trilogy, and there is a building of the character, even though Ford plays him very differently than Baldwin does. There's still that sense of like the average man in the way that Ford plays him. It was Willem Dafoe. John Clark is the character he plays, who becomes a really big character in the book series. And Clear and Present Danger is like far and away the one with the most action, the best action, I think, in the whole series. I think the only one that comes close to that is Shadow Recruit.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chris Pine has it's an action movie.
And that's the thing. Chris Pine is excellent as him as well. So is Ben Affleck. Like there is no bad, there's no bad Jack Ryan movie. And I like Jack Ryan because he's never the guy that's asking to do this job. He never wants to be in front of the cameras. He just wants to like quietly sit at his desk. And this is something that like both Jimmy Malone and Goodspeed had, where like they genuinely want to make the world a better, safer place. And I think that that's something that Ryan has, where like he got into the CIA as an analyst specifically to make the world safer. He wanted to.
Jim Hopper plays him well too.
Yes. And personally, I think that he is the best Jack Ryan, but I'm trying to compartmentalize and say, okay, well, just based on the movies, because this would like far and away be my number one. It wouldn't even be close if we were putting in the TV show as well. But yeah, man, I mean, you picked the movie. I fucking love it. This was the first one that came to mind. I think I think he's fucking fantastic. He is the best CIA agent in any movie ever, in my opinion.
I'm just so proud of you and confused that the words Mulder or Scully did not come out.
Well, you know why? Because I thought about it, and there are two X-Files movies, and one of them is really good. And no, part one, man. I really dig part one. Part two is passable, but in the end doesn't really add much to the mythos. And so I couldn't really add Mulder or Scully, and I would probably opt for Scully because as a skeptic, that's who I kind of gravitate towards in the TV show. But I couldn't add her the same way I couldn't add Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks, because if I would have been doing it, it really would have been for my love of the TV show and not the film. But I think with this, like my love of the Jack Ryan film series was Clear and Present well before the Jack Ryan TV series. So yeah, man, there you go, Jack Ryan.
All right.
I like it. I like it.
Jack Ryan. Jeff, what do we got for number one?
So my number one is a pick that I knew very well would refuse me to getting the perfect mountain if there was a chance of, which I think there was on this one. My number one is probably my favorite FBI agent in film, and that is Agent Paul Smecker from Boondock Saints.
Such a good pick.
Played by Willem Dafoe. But his character, it's just he's the third in those characters, and I know we're going to talk because now I know what your number one is, Debona. Yep. You know, he's one of these characters that he starts off like he goes there to figure out what's going on with these organized crime murders, what's happening. He solves it pretty much in the first try, in the first crime scene. And, you know, he realizes it's the brothers, but then he sees the good in what they're doing, even though it's illegal, and ends up helping them in the end, cross-dressing and doing all these, you know, but he has him and Rocco have the best lines in that movie. Like him.
There was a firefight!
Bro, that scene. He's just doing
his process is fucking beautiful.
Yes. He gets to a crime scene, puts on the classical music, and within minutes he analyzes and goes, okay, so this is what happened, you know. And then there's those scenes, like there was the second crime scene when the big guy gets killed, but they're in that big round room and he's quizzing all the other cops.
Yeah. And
like it's just, and that's where the what's the symbology there? I think the word you're looking for is symbolism. Symbolism. It's just he's the smartest guy in the room. It's very much a la the Stanley Goodspeed. He knows he's the smartest guy in the room. He's trying to make people feel better, like learn, but he's also demeaning them at the same time, but in funny ways. Especially the one cop that he's like, I'd like a latte with a sprinkle of lemon. And Splenda, and like he's like, go away, and he's like, does anybody else want anything while he's getting us coffee? Like he demeans them, but the way that his character develops, and he understands that these guys, and then later on in Boondock Saints 2, his predecessor, which is Julie Benz, which is another one you could probably put in there because her character is fantastic in the second Boondock Saints movie. Like she follows in his path. She's like, these guys are doing good, you know, so I got to do what I need to do to help them, but still kind of stay in the confines of what I'm supposed to be doing here as an agent. You know, and I just absolutely adored the way he played that character. There's a scene where I don't want to say it because he says a derogatory term, but when he's in bed.
The whole time since you brought up the pick, I was like, oh, that's my favorite fucking scene, but I'm trying to figure out a way of being able to say it. And I was going to say, I love the fact that he's a gay character, but he's not like a gay character.
And then later on at this crime scene, that is like and he uses the term, one of the guys says the FA, you know, F word term guy, and they're like, and they all look at him like, whoa. And he's like, oh, so tell me more about this. And he like says the word too, guy. Like, you know, I don't know, man. I just love just the way he presents himself.
Yeah, I love my favorite one though is when he puts together the like strip club like peep booth.
Yes, that's my favorite one too.
And you see him like trying to figure out the bullet trajectories, and he figures out that the arms are crossed and all that, and just watching him put all that together, man, I love that scene so much.
I think unlike Jack Ryan, where like I just talked about how everyone has a great like interpretation of Jack Ryan, only Willem Dafoe could play this character. It's so him. It's like it was created just for him. And I don't know if that's the case, but it really seems like it was.
Yeah, I absolutely adore the character. So that's my number one is Agent Paul Smecker.
All right, Debona, what do you got for number one?
My number one, as alluded to way back at number 4, is Agent Joe Pistone, more commonly known as Donnie Brasco. This is one now. We always have the conversation about favorite versus best, right? And my love for Donnie Brasco, just the movie, was guaranteed to move this one up to my number one spot. I love that movie so much. And he plays that role so well. And it goes back to like where Jeff started at the very top, right? He gets into this and he sews himself in so deep that he's like, maybe everything happening isn't awful. And he starts to second guess literally everything about himself as a person just from spending time with this with the Bonanno crime family. It's so well played, and the stress that he's under the entire time, and you watch him just constantly almost break.
Yeah.
And he's always right on the edge of the entire movie, you're never 100% sure if he's going to turn and just go native and just become one of these crime family members, or if he's going to fulfill his job as an FBI agent. This is Johnny Depp at his absolute finest. It's a movie that you're, like I said, you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. Again, a movie with, big names. You've got Al Pacino right there
You're
with
playing
him.
off Pacino.
Yes,
and
and
you're holding your own.
Still focused on Johnny Depp. That's who has you for this movie. And yeah, you're right there against one of the biggest personalities in movies. It's a great watch. It's an incredible movie from beginning to end. Then you get into the true story element of it, and you get to the end, and they scroll all this stuff about what really happened with Pistone and what his undercover work led to. And it's just this epic film with Johnny Depp just chewing scenery and just absolutely dominating this movie. And I love it.
That's why I put him on my mountain, because you this is another one of those people you don't know. You're looking. Yes, it's a true story, but you're watching this movie and you're like, is he going to turn? Because he's seeing all. There was an interaction he has with his wife, and you've seen it probably a lot more than I have, DeBona. But he says something along the lines of like, they're not them, I'm one of them, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he's even saying, I'm part of this now.
Yeah, there is no them. I'm one of them.
There you go. That's what it is. Like so you have this agent that it's another one of those people that they're crossing the line of, do I need to keep doing what I'm doing, or the grass might be greener on the other side. What am I going to do? And like you said, he's holding his own against all these these stars in the movie, and Pacino is the person that he's playing off of most of the movie. And Pacino's character is phenomenal in this movie.
Yes.
And you're still talking about Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And what Johnny Depp does in it.
Yeah. Oh God, so good.
Yeah. You could watch this movie 10 times, and each time, even though you know what's going to happen, you're still stressed out.
Yep.
You're still stressed out. It's like the ending of Goodfellas. When the helicopter's flying around. Yeah. You know what's going on, but you're like,
it's just, it's that same thing when we did mobster movies or whatever, and we talked about the fact that, Carlito's Way opens with him dying, and you still get to the end of the movie hoping he's not going to die. Right. That's how this movie is. Even if you know the story of Joe Pistone, you're still going to get sucked into this and wonder exactly what's going to happen.
I love it.
Yeah.
It was my number 4.
I haven't seen Donnie Brasco in a long time, but I probably should go back and watch it. But I heavily enjoyed that.
Especially that you love mob movies, you definitely should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me see here. All right, my number 1. We've talked about a lot of amazing actors. I think we've talked about a couple different roles of Sean Connery. We just talked about Al Pacino in mentioning Johnny Depp, and Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's not a great actor, but we talked about all these amazing actors throughout this list. And my number 1, I think, is right up there with them when you talk about all of them. My number 1 is Max Walker from Time Cop. He is played by the amazing Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Dick, way to be on brand, Nary side.
Let me tell you something, dude. Let me tell you something. That when you guys changed it last minute to like not do internet, not do all these multinational, we changed it so many times, and there was a time there where I already had 3 out of my 4 picks were all Van Damme. So like I'm fucking going all in, and then when we changed it to just federal, I was like, no, this still fucking counts. He is an agent at the Time Enforcement Committee, which we all know is a federal agency.
It's science.
And I love this movie. It's his highest rated, it's his highest grossing movie of all time.
As it should
I
be.
think it's so fucking good. I loved it so much. And for some reason, Sloane from Ferris Bueller's in it, and we get to see the titty. But that's neither here nor there. I digress. I just love this movie, and I love. For a long time, I own the email address maxwalker@hotmail.com because that's like that was the shit.
Wasn't Max Walker 69 at Hotmail?
Yeah. Oh my God.
X Max Walker X.
Yeah. Max Walker splits.
It's actually Max Walker, but with 3 X's. It's Max Walker. So yeah, I love this movie. I love this pick. I don't give a fuck. I know everybody else went with like, oh, it has to be a real organization in real life, and I was like, I don't give a flying fuck about that. To me, the whole point of the fun part about movies is like escaping and like creating fucking other shit, and like this would be cool. And the movie begins with the movie begins with a Confederate money train on horses, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
A Confederate money train wagon. I'm sorry, thank you, Jeff. And the guy that's holding them up has fucking semi-automatic weapons, and you're like fucking or fully automatic weapons. I'm sorry, and you go, what the fuck? And then the very next scene is a scene at on some committee. They're trying to create this committee because they're like, hey, time travel is possible, and we need to make a committee to protect time. And that fucking whole premise is again, like if anything, you guys know anything about me, it's like if you start off with time travel, that movie, I'm already in. I'm fucking in with time travel. I'm like, let's fucking do this. It's yours to lose me after after telling me that there's time travel in the movie. And I don't know. I fucking love that movie. It's the one that introduced to me the theory of the same space can't occupy the same matter can't occupy the same space at the same time. And again, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm no physicist. I like when people say that I'm no doctor. Yeah, we know, Jimmy. We fucking know.
I saw you doing a beer bong last week at our friend's house.
Yeah. We see it. You did a keg stand, Jimmy. Relax. But anyway, but I just like to believe that that's true, that the same matter can occupy the same space at the same time. I don't know. It fucking sounds logical to me. I don't know.
You don't have to believe that it's true. That's a law of physics.
Well, here's the thing. We don't know because there's time travel is not real. We don't fucking actually know. You can say
it was a little far-fetched, but I went with it.
You can say all you want, but we actually don't fucking know. Like that's the theory. It's just like that. It's just like when Avengers Endgame, when they introduced time travel, they're like, forget about everything you think you know about fucking time travel for movies, and the whole fucking everybody
was shit.
Yeah. And then everybody who watched Endgame was like, oh, okay, and I was not. I was like, no, sir, no, you are fucking wrong, and nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. They like,
Maybe it was just me, but the way they explained it in Endgame makes an awful lot of sense to me.
It really doesn't to me. And that doesn't make any fun. It really doesn't. Like not to detour that much too much, but they asked the Russo brothers about it, like in the after the movie, like in all the fucking interviews that they asked them, and they said, oh, like how do you explain, and then they literally had to tell interviewers, guys, time travel is not real. It's not possible. You could just make up any fucking rule you want, and you could just, as long as you stick to it, that's the movie. That's the movie business. We don't know how time travel is. So not even they believe their shit. They're like, nah, this is just gonna be good enough to fit our movie, but that's it. Anyways, so with that said, Time Cop, I knew from the beginning that I wasn't gonna have a perfect mountain, and from the looks of it, I'm not gonna have a single pick on the mountain, on the final mountain, and I'm okay with that.
But I think we all
live
had
and die,
individual ones. We had individual.
What?
We had.
Yeah.
Didn't we have Oh no, but we have
You had
duplicates.
3 doubles. There's 3
Oh.
doubles, buddy. There's Stanley Goodspeed, Jimmy Malone, and Joe Pistone. All
shit.
3 doubles. Yeah. So unless you guys let me pick Max Walker on the fucking mountain, there's no way I'm gonna fucking have a fucking pick on the mountain. But I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm okay with that. I enjoy my list. I think looking back now, the only thing I would change is I would take Jason Bourne out and put Evelyn Salt. Had I remembered her, she would definitely fucking be there.
I'm not even though I'm not gonna force Paul Smecker on anybody. I think Jack Ryan's probably a better pick for overall that, but that's just going off of number ones. Because my other 3 were
I personally, I'm gonna echo what Dave said. I'm okay with Jack Ryan, but in reality, the reason why I like Jack Ryan is because of Krasinski's take on him, more so than what Dave picked. And that's not a movie. So like that again, I'm just completely biased in the sense of like John Krasinski to me killed it. So he did it so well that the same reason he didn't pick Scully because
was Krasinski your introduction to Jack Ryan though?
No. I watched the Ben Affleck one years upon years ago. Shadow Recruit is still my favorite movie of the Jack Ryan movies. I saw Hunt for Red October maybe 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5. Let's say 5 years ago. No. The only ones I don't recall vividly are Clear and Present Danger and
Patriot Games.
Patriot Games. Those are the only ones that I don't recall. I know I've seen them, but when I saw them, I was a kid, so I don't really recall those movies. But I've seen all the other Jack Ryan ones, and Krasinski is by no means my
he kills it. He kills it.
Yeah, he kills it. So like the same way you wouldn't pick Scully because you know deep down inside you'd be picking Scully from the TV show. To me, Jack Ryan, I think of Jack Ryan, I think of Krasinski.
Well, then I'm gonna.
Johnny Utah, fine.
I'm gonna throw Evelyn Salt up there because Neri has said that she could have even taken his number 3.
Well, in that case, I am also gonna throw out Harry Tasker because Jeff said that he would have picked Tasker if he had remembered.
I was about to mention Harry Tasker.
I think Evelyn Salt would take Tasker in a situation of spy versus spy, only because Evelyn Salt could actually be a spy and be, fucking cool. Could actually fucking not blow everything up.
How many repeats do we have? I walked away.
We have 3. There's only 1 spot open.
Okay.
There's only 1 spot. We have.
I mean, listen, all these picks are so good. There's really no bad pick.
Guys, can any of your number ones do a fucking split on a kitchen countertop? Is that what I'm fucking saying?
I don't know. We
We
didn't see that scene in Boondock Saints. What happened before the bang?
So funny.
So you don't know.
So true. So true.
So what are we looking at here?
One you guys want to pick?
We're split between Salt and Tasker for that last spot.
Do we literally flip a coin?
I'm literally putting Max Walker up for a nomination. Nobody's gonna back me.
Okay, but like for everybody else taking it seriously, what are we?
Well, I mean, taking it seriously, I would second Jeff's pick of Jack Ryan, but since that was shot down, then I threw.
I just said that. I just said why I wouldn't pick him. That's not by no means that I mean don't think of him. I just said why I wouldn't pick Jack Ryan.
Because I think the thing is just because the best iteration maybe in the TV doesn't mean that the other iterations aren't good. I can't speak on Salt because I've never seen Salt.
Bourne? Hey, fucking Jason Bourne. No, we're gonna just fucking forget about Jason Bourne. Somebody
like
who would have had him on the list.
Well, no,
like he did.
I was gonna say, you said yourself though you would have bumped Jason Bourne for Evelyn Salt. So in my opinion, that eliminates him.
True.
Yeah, but if you're gonna start using things logically and reasonably, things that I said against me, this is gonna be a very difficult fucking episode, man. It's up to you guys.
I
man.
can't speak.
I
Look,
have
I
no.
can't speak on Salt because I never seen the movie. I need to watch that movie. I'll probably watch that tomorrow. But I mean, I love Harry Tasker, so I mean.
Well, look,
Captain John Patrick Mason. Captain John Patrick Mason. Nobody. Everybody just fuck you on John Patrick Mason, right?
All right, I got a coin flip. We're gonna go heads.
Let's do it.
Heads is Salt because it's a female on this coin. Here we go. Get it up on the screen there. Heads is Salt. Tails is Tasker. Salt it is.
Salt it is.
Don't be salty, Neri.
I'm the one that likes Seven and Salt. I'm the one that likes Seven and Salt. This is the first mountain that I have 0 picks on the final mountain.
Really?
0 fucking picks. I don't have a fucking one.
Ironically enough, he was pushing for Time Cop, and we had a split decision.
Hey!
I see what you did.
If he would have used that argument, I would have been like Time Cop. If that's the argument, we would have been like, well, we have a split decision. Let's go with Time Cop.
All right, so the final mountain is Stanley Goodspeed, Jimmy Malone, Joe Pistone from Donnie Brasco, and Evelyn Salt from the movie Salt. That is the list. Thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you check out the Geek World Network, the other podcasts on the Geek World Network that include the What's Up Bro podcast, include What You Got, which is Daniel DeBona's other podcast, YouTube podcast, where you could see him and his friend digest an insanely amount of spicy food. And they come up with different challenges every weekend. Every episode, I'm sorry. So make sure you guys check that out. Check out the other podcasts on the Geek World Network, including Better Let Me Tell You and Childlike at Best with Mike Valdez. Also, to the listener, if you're listening to this audio version, there is a new video up. We are now putting the full-length videos up on our YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and search MtGeekmore, you'll be able to see the whole podcast video-wise. I started with episode 129, and this should be 131 or something, 132. Either way, thank you for checking us out. Make sure you go to geekbro.net and check that out. My comedy website, is naryscience.com or whatwashisname.com. You guys have been great. That's how lists are made.